What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. As you can see, we are once again showcasing some F1 2017 gameplay. This is once again provided by Codemasters, driven by David Greco, so you know you're in for some really good driving in this video. So without further ado, here we are at the Belgian Grand Prix. We have a fully wet race upon us, so we're going to get a glimpse as to what the handling is like in the rain. From what I've heard, it's going to be pretty treacherous.
Keep your eyes open on the run to turn 1 and keep it clean. We want to come out in one piece. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Let's get this race underway. In the Force India, cockpit cam, no assist, ultimate AI, 5 red lights, and away we go for the Belgian Grand Prix. David, what are you doing there? That's a Ben Daly start. That's disgustingly slow. But Verline comes out of nowhere as we blaze into turn 1. Yeah, a dreadful start from David Greco there. I'm not sure if he was distracted at the time or maybe he just wants to have a more entertaining gameplay video overtaking more cars. But here we go, up our Rouge for the very first time in a 50% race. That is sketchy, especially in cockpit cam, no assists. Vision is far from ideal, even when you're in T-cam, let alone cockpit cam, when you got the spray of every other car distracting you on the way up to the top of the hill. Through Lacom, that's not Lacom. Is it Lacom? Yes, it is Lacom. I'm sorry. 3 wide, and the AI managed to negotiate that fairly cleanly. David Greco still in P15 at the moment as Grosjean gets a really bad exit there, side by side with Verline. And David, in a little bit too hot there, ran into the back of Verline there, lost the back end, and in the process, a spot to Grosjean. So it's been a pretty messy start for David Greco. He's losing the back end like crazy as well. I'm guessing he's got a stock setup, so that's not going to make things very easy for him, shall we say. Downforce, probably not optimal. I'd say in these conditions, you want to be running more downforce than what is offered by the stock setup, but doesn't harm him as he goes up our Rouge with heavy fuel. That was pretty much flat, I think. It's hard to tell now without the graphics in the bottom right hand corner of the screen with the telemetry. But we're going 3 wide into Lacom once again, just casually, as you do. That's another 2 spots for Dave as he moves into 13th place, and what a move that was. Hopefully he can continue to move forward and get in the points. That's one luxury that he wasn't able to get in the last gameplay video that I covered yesterday, I believe it was. Check the link in the description if you want to go watch that one. But yeah, he had a much tougher times of things in the Renault. This time he's in a much more competitive car in the Force India. So fingers crossed he can make his way through the field. We have a safety car here on lap 3, and I'm not entirely sure what has triggered that. But no one takes the opportunity to make a pit stop. It's pretty silly to do so at this point. The wet tyres are not going to be wearing out at all, and the conditions don't look like they're going to be changing anytime soon. So probably best to stay out on the current strategy that he's on at the moment. Tyre wear only 9% on the worst tyre. So we could be going a long way into this race, possibly a no stop, providing that the weather stays as it is. But we're getting ready for the restart now. This will be a really good sequence to see what it's like on F1 2017. I can't remember having a safety car in all the hours of testing that I've done. So this is going to be a first for all of us as we get ready to go back to green flag racing. Fairly clean so far. The AI sticking very close to one another. Stoffel Van Dorn, I noticed in the corner of the screen, went off the screen. Possibly brake failure, but probably what's more likely is engine failure. Pulling off to the side in that McLaren Honda, which I'd assume is going to have pretty terrible reliability on this game. That's a very bad incident there, I think caused by Nico Hulkenberg, who was going slowly off the exit of turn 1, and now he's out of the Grand Prix as well. So the AI are dropping like flies after this safety car restart. Perhaps the safety car drive was going too slow and it's just really caused issues for the AI here. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just making up stuff as I go along here, in all honesty. But yeah, David Greco's moved his way into P12 now. He's getting a alternate strategy change from the engineer. Possibly it's time for inters. The track does look like it's drying up. In all honesty, you can see the drying line that's happening at the moment. But watch as you go through here. David Greco, he's going to be short shifting quite a bit just to reduce the wheel spin and help get better traction. That was something that was a very heavy feature in F1 2016 to being fast and getting better traction and getting really nice exits. So it looks like that might be another feature in this year's game. I also noticed that Dave was also short shifting very heavily out of the final corner at Suzuka. So I'd hazard a guess to say that short shifting is pretty beneficial to this game as well. My thoughts on that though are a little bit mixed because I don't feel like you see that all too much in real life. But either way, we're carrying on now. Lap 8, and David is getting a massive tank slapper on there, oversteering right at the worst point where the barrier was really approaching. But he manages to survive. His teammate is in the pits, Sergio Perez, and I assume he'll be diving in for a set of intermediate tyres. Now, Lee Mather, the creative designer for the F1 games, he's basically the head honcho, shall we say. He has been saying in interviews to press the last few weeks that the weather system for F1 2017 is a lot less predictable, and so you could see a whole various amount of triggering points to come in to change onto different tyre compounds, and it's definitely not going to be as predictable as what it was in the past F1 games, where you just wait for a call from Jeff or you wait for DRS to be enabled or disabled to make your pit stop. This time it could be a bit random, but here we are into the pits. Dave gets a much more flowing exit out of the pit lane there, as it looks like he's got some practice of those manual pit stops, which is really good to see. He rejoins on the track just behind Grosjean, so he gets the undercut and made the better call by coming in slightly earlier than Dave, who it looked like was struggling ever so slightly on the wet compound tyres. Now, he's going for a move around the outside here. Does he have the straight line speed to do so? It's Mercedes versus Ferrari power, and the Mercedes comes out on top, as you'd come to expect. Force India is slightly a better car than the Haas, but gets the move done nonetheless. Now, lap 13, we've got Felipe Massa out of the Grand Prix now. So we're seeing quite a few retirements so far in this video. He pulls off to the side there. That looks like another reliability issue, but I have been speaking far too much so far. I haven't had any gaps, so if you want to hear the game sounds, then here we go. Now's your opportunity to hear what it's like. So as we rejoin with the commentary now, Dave is entering a bit of a titanic battle here for a spot inside the top 10. He goes for a move up the inside of Daniel Kvyat. Can he get Carlos Sainz up the inside as well? Looks like he can. Very nice move. And that is P9 for the taking. It wasn't an easy overtake. He really had to work hard for that. And the slipstream, yes, it worked, but it wasn't overbearingly powerful like we've seen in the past with F1 2016. So you'll see that over the course of this video, and even on the last video, that slipstream is not as potent as what it used to be. So online is going to be much more enjoyable, and if you're actually faster than someone, you can actually pull away, which is really great to see. Once again, Sergio Perez is in the pits, and I'm guessing he is being very proactive on the strategy and going on to the... No, he's not going on to dry tyres. He's come out again on the inters, so looks like he's struggling for pace, but David is going to be staying out as long as he can before making the switch to dry tyres, which I don't think is too far away now. Look at how dry the track is. There's a drying line right on the racing line, and he's really struggling for traction. Even lost it through that right-hander. So within the next lap or two, you might see a lot of cars diving in as the DRS now gets enabled. So that basically means when you're within 1 second of a car ahead, you can open the rear flap, and that promotes overtaking in a straight line. Now, the stewards only enable that when it's safe enough to be run in the dry. So when that happens, you know it's time for dry tyres, and I haven't really seen any AI come into the pits yet for dry tyres, so it's not as clear cut anymore as to when you can go onto the dry tyres. But since David is coming in this lap, I think he is, or I'm pretty sure he is, because the DRS has been enabled. This will be a really good opportunity for you guys to see what it's like on a pretty dry track on wet tyres. David is definitely going to be struggling here, so let's follow him on board for the rest of this lap. We're pretty much right at the end of the lap here, and you can see Dave Greco's teammate is really putting on the pressure there. That was really important for David to stay in front there, because if he would have lost that position, he would have lost pit priority to his teammate, and if he would have dived into the pits for dry tyres on that lap, then David would have been screwed. But turns out Perez has stayed out the extra lap anyway, and is going to tough it out on intermediate tyres. It definitely looks well past the point where you still want to be on inters. But yeah, David rejoins the track now, and he's going to be absolutely flying. Sergio responds on the very next lap, and this is going to be very interesting to see who has made the better strategy call. My money's on David Greco. The track looked way too dry to still be on intermediate tyres, and I think the AI are finally responding to that. Looks like the track might take a lot longer to dry than in previous F1 games, which is quite interesting. Might catch a few people out come August 25th. But either way, this is David's first flying lap on dry tyres. You can just see how much more apex speed he can carry into corners. Really late under braking as well, and going through Pouan there. He just flies through the corner, basically just a slight lift off, and away he goes through the apex of the corner. It just looks amazing, this game, with high speed. With the added downforce of the cars, the wider tyres, just the sheer amount of pace and speed you can carry through corners is just amazing, and I can't wait to try it out in career mode and jump in a higher spec car like a Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, and just see what it's like at high speed. With low fuel, it's just going to be absolutely awesome. Even heavy fuel, I don't think it'll be too bad versus like F1 2016, for example. You're going to be running at pretty comparable speeds. But here we are on the final lap of this 50% race. It's gone by very, very quickly. David finds himself in 7th place, and hopefully he's going to be setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Last time I checked, Pascal Wehrlein set the fastest lap, and David wasn't able to conquer that lap time, but hopefully he can do so on this one occasion. Did he get purple through the first sector? I believe he did. He's been getting a lot of purple first sectors, but seems to be losing out a little bit in the middle, but probably even more in the 3rd sector. So hopefully he can nail the lap together so far on this final lap here. Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap with a 1 minute 45.2. David is still 3 seconds away. So on average, it looks like the midfield teams are 3 seconds away from the front running guys like the Mercedes. Vettel goes fastest with a 1 minute 44. So David's going to have to improve by, 4 seconds to seal the fastest lap. The track is getting ever faster and faster. It's just that happy hour stage where everyone just goes faster and improves on their personal best. But here we go through the final couple of corners now. David is going to come home in a respectable P7 in the Force India. Beats his teammate, which is all you can really do in these kind of races. But there you go. A gameplay around Spa in the Force India. 7th place. And another respectable drive there from David Greco.
And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
So as I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies. It's yet more silverware to take back to their base in Brackley after another excellent Grand Prix.
So there we go, guys. That has been this video for today. A 50% race around the Belgian Grand Prix. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you smash the like button. That'll really help me out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more F1 2017 videos. I said it in my previous video, but I went down to Sydney to record some gameplay of myself, and you guys will be seeing that over the course of the next few days, next week, 2 weeks. I'm not entirely sure. Once I get the green light for that, you'll be seeing plenty of gameplay on my channel. So stay tuned for that. Maybe even follow me on Twitter. I'll let you guys know when that gameplay is coming. And when it does happen, it's going to be coming thick and fast with lots of different gameplays, different scenarios, career mode, the whole shebang. It's going to be awesome. So I can't wait to show you guys that. But hopefully you have enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Your support on all of my videos as of late has been incredible. So hopefully you guys can keep that up. And I'll keep rewarding you guys with more videos to watch. So until the next one, guys, I'll see you next time.